brought down by a host of Vikings.
The Rose Bowl is a college football institution dating back to 1916. It's traditionally played every year at Rose Bowl Stadium in Pasadena, California. However, the 1942 Rose Bowl game turned out to be the most famous ever played at Duke?
Duke University, who had months before been chosen as the opponent for the West Coast champs, Oregon State, offered their home field at Durham, North Carolina, and the Rose Bowl Classic was on.
As the Beavers score first against Duke in the transplanted Rose Bowl game.
You heard it right. The Rose Bowl was played in Durham on New Year's Day, 1942. You see, the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, changed everything.
Airplane supplies were reduced to smoldering ruins. Japan, like its infamous Axis partners, struck first and declared war afterwards.
Military officials, fearing another Japanese attack on the West Coast, canceled the New Year's Day game that was scheduled between the Duke Blue Devils, who were 9-0, and the 7-2 Oregon State Beavers. At the time, Duke's head coach, Wallace Wade, was one of the most well-known and well-respected football coaches in America.
He used to coach at Alabama before he came to Duke. He won 3 national titles at Alabama. People don't realize this a lot, but he put Alabama football on the map. He came to Duke in 1931 and coached here until 1950 and put Duke football on the national map.
Wade was ultimately able to convince tournament officials and school administrators to allow Duke to host the game in another part of the country, Durham, North Carolina. The game was back on.
Coach Wade had so much to do to get ready for that 1942 Rose Bowl. By the time it was finalized that it would be played here in Durham, they had like 2 weeks to get ready for a major bowl game. They borrowed bleachers from UNC and NC State to enlarge the field to make it 56,000 people eventually came to the game. Oregon State was a good opponent. Oregon State won that game, denying Duke a national title in football.
In a soaking rain on that New Year's Day in 1942, for the first time in its history, the Tournament of Roses had been transplanted from its native Pasadena soil to the tobacco lands of North Carolina. A cherished sports tradition was kept alive in the midst of one of the blackest years of America's history. For the record, 5-1 underdog Oregon State went on to lick their gracious hosts by the score of 20-16.
Right after the 1942 Rose Bowl, after that devastating loss, he went and told Duke administration, look, I'm resigning my position of football and athletic director here at Duke, and I'm going to go into World War II. Coach Wade was just such a patriot. He was one of the most recognized coaches in the country in 1942, highly paid for the times. He was 49 years old. He said that my boys are going into war. I don't want to be separated from them. I'm going to go in and we're just going to be involved in a different game.
In April of 1944, he deployed overseas in command of the 272nd Field Artillery Battalion. From August of 44 to May of 1945, his men advanced across France, Belgium, and Germany and participated in every significant battle during that time, including the desperate last-chance offensive by the Germans, known as the Battle of the Bulge.
For this decisive blow, they had secretly assembled the mightiest striking force the world had ever seen, including 45,000 armored vehicles.
Dug in around Rott, Germany, Wade's battalion came under heavy shelling from the Germans. After spending 2 days in the brutal cold without food, Wade saw an infantryman brewing coffee and asked for a cup. The soldier, Stan Check, happily obliged. As they chatted in the shivering cold, the two men realized they had something in common. Check had lined up as the starting right tackle for Oregon State in the 1942 Rose Bowl against Wade's team. 4 players from the 42 Rose Bowl game paid the ultimate price during World War II. Walter Griffith, Al Hoover, and Bob Nanny from Duke, and Everett Smith from Oregon State. For his service, Coach Wade received a Bronze Star, a Croix de Guerre, and 4 Battle Stars. Today, a bust of Wallace Wade stands at the entrance of the stadium named in his honor, surrounded by rose bushes that have thrived in that spot since the 1942 Rose Bowl. Lewis Bowling, who tries to attend every Duke football and basketball game he can, admits to a ritual he engages in when he passes by Wade's bust.
For some reason, I like to go by and look at Coach Wade. When nobody's looking, I'll put my hand on him and let him know I'm here to watch another football game in the stadium that his name is on, and let him know that I'm helping to preserve his legacy.
Through Bowling's stories about their exploits, these ghosts also talk to us. And in so doing, their resilience and hard work, their honor and sacrifice speak volumes.
Duke stays in the ball game thanks greatly to All-America Steve Lack, at the moment picking up some 40 yards.
If you enjoyed this video, we're making a whole slew of these hidden history stories right here on our YouTube channel. So subscribe for more. Visit ourstate.com/subscribe to become a subscriber today and receive your first issue of Our State magazine.
Bob Deathman passes down to substitute halfback Gene Gray. Expertly, Gray evades the opposition and digs in for pay dirt. The Beavers upset favored Duke 20-16.